Abana Ochapa Osima Edriana Insia, Uguswa Washer Dwaboase with TV XYZ. Also, also here live, Power 97.9 on Facebook, Facebook Live, Power 979, YouTube, XYZ broadcasting. Baby, I drew you come to you, you have a potokakra, you have a frafra, Serbia, and Tiasia between Ayana Nejuma. Honorable, and as a comrade on your honorable, comrade Mutala Muhammad. A member of parliament this year a war a year Tamale Central in Peswaso yet in a beste and come out to say beauty beba kind home na yatwan common so na ene and come out yina so a LGBTQ plus and common ye perceive no and brandon susie the idea of my Ghana ebekwa kodru na won come out to no but mubobo one no more second reading I think third reading e Ghana Mrasha Bejefie no twama ntwi bi koso and they be munokre ono ankasa wa comrade Mutala wa obekire ne esi pote but en komono baby a pese ye kodru no say sa ye mbre nsusu ye ya e ba be ye embre boa ben ne be boa Ghana especially on the back of nia yasha ase a ye de Uganda for a speaker of parliament honorable Sam George Akade nenso e de na kire say Ghana benya sa ahoden no agina pintin wabra pressure hodo ebe free wiase afa na nyina ne enso ka enkomo no na fe so don kuma na ankasa o mana ama o matuo se ese de obunuanom ya asese o mo ayede won akosi court aye di o masenti anytime aye be from say ye kodi asem no court no o mbeja o madwuma e o mrashe bedwafie e di o machi no boa ben na be boa o man Ghana e ka bi mama nka bi amamu ebi say botia o mo standing orders no mo gitum and also munjintu and also e kan ye common ho na fe ni aka no so yetimi de ato aso asen north abato no zunzu anso yetimi e de ato aso but answer na mema na kwa aba na mama na che no because of Franco Trading Enterprise o perform papa to amesro bowura o say ye iPhone say ye Nokia say ye Samsung CCTV camera o pese wo to bi se de be abambo ho nsem ubetimi aso twe ewo fie anase wo office anase wo sorry ana asupiti baby wetima nya bi ato Franco Trading Enterprise tabletop fridges assault we sugani anase wo ye warefo betimi akopi bi ato ewo ho ena Franco air conditioning me Canada ya sheda ya magana weather no said ye wie mu sakra e bobre city no sa na Franco air conditioning city mesra bowura ho ne pebito omonkura batara chita fa Ghana fa na nyina wetua from 0246 422 338 and 0555939311 wetua download Franco Trading app no na ne omo ediga afei comrade Mutala Muhammad. Good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you doing, my brother?
By His grace, I'm fine. Good to see you as well.
Good to be here. It's been a while.
Comrade, I mean, we are indeed in perilous times in Ghana, and I'm sure there's no argument about that. And some also seem to suggest that Ghana is at a crossroads, and this is the time that we need our members of parliament, whether MPP or NDC, to stand firm in the interest of Ghana. I'll get to the specifics, but in speaking to what I've just raised, would you say that Parliament is in that position to fight for Ghana?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to your cherished viewers, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. If you ask me whether Parliament is in the position to fight for Ghana, my answer will be absolutely yes. But I'll say absolutely
Comrade,
yes.
you may want to raise your voice.
My answer will be absolutely yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely yes, with some little apprehension because of the conduct of some members of Parliament. It is not for nothing that I have consistently indicated I don't want to be addressed as honorable, because if you look at the conduct of some so-called honorable members of Parliament, it is just absolutely dishonorable. It is absolutely, unbefitting of that particular title, and for which reason I think that I really do not want to be addressed as such, and most importantly because I am a leftist in linen. I prefer to be identified as not just center left but absolute left. Now, Parliament has a role to play. We agreed to democratize, and this is not the first time we have charted this part of democracy. We have tried the two known system of governance before. We have tried the Westminster system, which is the parliamentary democracy. And we have tried the presidential or the executive democracy, if you like, as practiced by America. We tried the Westminster before independence, and after independence, we had it. And when Buzia came, we moved to the executive. In fact, Buzia also continued after the Third Republic. We moved.
I'm sure that was when His Excellency Akufo-Addo's father was a ceremonial president,
and Buzia was the prime minister. But we decided at a point in time to move to the executive system. Having tried these two systems of governance, perhaps because of the limitations associated with both, we decided to do the hybrid system. The hybridity of our system of governance indeed comes with some consequences. Few countries have attempted the system that we are, practicing today. Be it as it may, we are where we are with that system. And that system indeed put some inselbecks on the way of the absolute discharge of the responsibility of the legislature. Because you have a system that says that the president must appoint more than 50% or at least 50% of his ministers from the legislature. So in one breath, you find someone who is supposed to be holding the executive accountable, who himself is part of the executive. Now, assuming a minister sat at cabinet and a decision was taken to do ABCD, then the minister comes to parliament, remove the cloth of the executive, and now he's now wearing the gown of the legislature. And the legislative arm has a different position. Where will that minister stand? Most often, the ministers will stand with the executive governor. So that is some of the limitations that I said that for which reason I would say yes, Parliament fight for Ghana, however, with some caution or some precaution, if you like. So that is one thing which is caused by the system that we run, that we have not insulated entirely the legislature from the executive grip. If we were to do that, my answer would have been that absolutely Parliament stands for Ghana. Another very important thing has to do with the over-partisanship. It is important to state that you can have a government without Parliament, but you cannot have democracy without Parliament. In fact, Parliament is sine qua non to the existence of democracy. Because in a democratic governance, you are talking of the three arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, working side by side, but in complementary manner to achieve a common goal, that is to improve the living conditions of the people, to ensure social cohesion, peace and stability in that country. To the extent that the framers of the Constitution were mindful of that, yet still we had this clauses in our Constitution that says that the president must appoint more than, or at least 50% of his ministers from the executive. So what I think...
You mean the legislature?
Legislature. My position has always been, and I remember when I was a deputy minister for trade, in fact, information even to trade, my position was that we should insulate the legislative arm entirely from the executive. If we really want to see Parliament does or performs its core mandate, one, of holding the executive accountable, two, of ensuring that there is transparency in governance and ensuring that there is financial accountability in legislating for the people of the country, and many other functions that are supposed to be performed by the legislature. You cannot perform this function to the satisfaction of the people if you still have the executive having somewhat control of the activities of the legislature.
Okay. How are your fears playing out now that we have a very for that a live program? Some of these things happen. He wants us to see him. Kisi, shout outs to you. I mean, how is your fear or these concerns that you're raising, how is it playing out in our current parliamentary structure, where many Ghanaians are saying, say, with the one or 50-50, 137, at least for the minority, and now with the by-elections out of the way for the minority and then the majority. How are these fears playing out?
Without vaunting, I'm doing my PhD in political science, and interestingly, I'm researching in an area that no academic work has ever been done as far as the committee system of Parliament of Ghana is concerned. So I have gone through a plethora of literature on the responsibilities of Parliament and the nature of Parliament we have. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm yet to come across the kind of a hung Parliament we haven't today, haven't been experienced in any African country, to be very honest with you.
Oh, wow.
I mean, with the literature I have gone through.
So far?
Yes, so far, I'm yet to see the kind that we have virtually equal numbers operating. Mind you,
what kind are we operating? We
have a hung Parliament.
Yes.
The same number.
Yes.
If you take one, NDC has 137.
That's right.
MPP has 137, except that the independent member of Parliament decides to sit and in voting. It doesn't make him an MPP member, and that's one mistake several people are making. He is not. If you can't say the MPP has 138,
but he does business.
Yes,
with the MPP.
Yes. You cannot say MPP has 138. You can only say MPP has 137, NDC 137, except that an independent member of Parliament decides to sit and in voting with the MPP. It doesn't make him an MPP. I have listened to a lot of experts. I mean, who have argued MPP has 138. There is no any foundation.
Your good friend, the second deputy speaker.
There's no any foundation on some of this, and everybody knows that the reason why they decided that he should be the second deputy speaker was one of the means by which they could get him, to sit and in voting with the NPP. So the nature of our Parliament, for me, is the best we can ever have. The only time in the Fourth Republic that we've gotten somewhat near to that number was in the Fifth Parliament. And in the Fifth Parliament, where NDC had just 6 members of Parliament, more than the MPP, virtually near Parliament. But this one, you have equal numbers. And that is why this MPP is desperately, particularly the president, desperately wanting to reduce the numbers of the MPP. But you see, God speaks to them in a manner.
You mean the president is desperate in reducing the numbers?
Look, I have had discussions with leading members of the MPP who have all said that they have never seen an individual who has control over his government and a political party on which ticket he's in government than President. He controls the MPP as a political party, and what he wants is what happens. What he wants is what happens. So I'm saying that he is desperate. He desperately wants to reduce the number, but God speaks to him in a manner that he doesn't understand. Anytime they attempt to do that, something happens. Unfortunately, we lost one of our colleagues, a very good individual. I mean, an outstanding personality. I served in the same committee with him, and our condolences to the family. At the time when they felt that they had the numbers, Adjosafo did something. They felt that the NDC was influencing Adjosafo. Absolutely no. When Adjosafo agreed to go against her own principles and then return to Parliament, something happened. Now, they decided to get our MP out by certain means which is unfathomable.
And you're referring to Chachi
Kwesen.
Yeah.
I mean, and God in his own wisdom, they did so through the judiciary, sadly. God in his own wisdom, we went into an elections, monies were actually
Is that your reading of the situation? I mean, when you say they attempted to get our MP out, is that your reading of the situation, or it is what it is?
It's not even
based on what evidence?
It's not even attempted. They wanted to get him out. You listen to Kennedy at Japan. When the gentleman won before the election, he said even if he wins the elections, we get him out. So ab initio, they had the agenda of getting him out. Ab initio, they had
but there were legal issues they raised.
What legal issues? The gentleman was accused not to be having dual citizenship. The Electoral Commission was actually petitioned. The Electoral Commission was petitioned before the 2020 elections. The Electoral Commission invited him to come respond to the petitions against him. Now, on 27th he got the letter of renunciation of his citizenship. Mind you, he applied for renouncing his citizenship long before in 2019. But for COVID, he would have had it long before we even had our parliamentary primaries. When he appeared before the Electoral Commission, on 27th, he appeared with the letter of renunciation. The Electoral Commission said, look, we're inviting you because of this petition, but you have had the renunciation letter, so there wouldn't be any need to sit on the petition again. The Electoral Commission, which has the absolute mandate of determining who is qualified and not qualified to contest an elections based on the information available to them, which is occasioned by investigation they themselves indeed will be conducting. They conducted their independent investigation and came to that conclusion. This government wanted the person out. You see, what for me was sad, and which unfortunately many of us seems to be glossing over, is not about the fact that the gentleman was sent to court. It's about the fact that his constituents were denied representation for over a year.
The people of Aseno.
Yes, over a year. It's just like the SAR issue. Yet we call ourselves a democratic nation. To be very honest, under President Nana Addo, one wonder, you look around and you wonder whether there is any institution that has the semblance of democratic governance, or a system that is a country that is run through the core known democratic principles. You find it very difficult to find
at this moment.
Because to be very honest, Nana Addo rules this country like a king.
You don't see that even in the in Parliament.
He rules this country.
Parliament is an institution.
He rules this.
Are you not democratic?
He rules this. Parliament is not part of the executive, actually. Unfortunately, I have already raised my concerns about the defects and the insults on the way of Parliament discharging its responsibility. He rules this country like a king, like a girl. I mean, what he wants is what happens. You know, unfortunately, I mean, it's sad that sometimes the judiciary tend to go in line with the thinking and the actions and activities of the president. Because I live in a country where a judiciary tells you that a birth certificate is not a proof of citizenship. How ridiculous could this be? Yet a document you are able to procure with a birth certificate is enough evidence to prove your citizenship. I find it extremely ridiculous. So I'm saying that they wanted to get him out. And in fact, he's not the only person. The MPP knows that they never won the 2020 elections. Look, I have raised concerns about the press conference we held at 2 a.m. on the day of the elections. It was ill-advised. It was not supposed to be held in any case. I have spoken with a leading member of MPP, and he told me, Mutala, around 1 a.m., many people have started moving away from the party headquarters because we had come to the conclusion we lost the elections. But for that press conference you people held, that was when they started commandeering the military, okay, to go to certain constituencies to gun down people and rig the elections for them. I thought that, in fact, I was watching the press conference and I remember I said, wow, this is ill-advised. We could have exercised a bit restraint. But you see, we are all there to learn. And so I am very convinced. Learned from it. And I am very convinced that the NDC won the 2020 elections. And people never won the elections.
But as far as data is concerned,
if those, please, look, you know what they did?
The evidence is contrary.
The so-called regional coalition of results was not there. They did it at the blind side of the NDC. That's one. Two, the fact that they sent military men to certain constituencies. Look, Honorable Jogati never won his elections. Zabzugu, we won Zabzugu. We saw what happened in Techiman North, right? Techiman South. Yeah. And many other constituencies. Do you think that if all those constituencies, Tema East, Carlos Ahenkra, do you think that if all Tema West, if all those constituencies were declared for the NDC, Jean Mensa would have had the guts?
But these are serious issues you are raising.
It's a fact.
And to prove, to say it's a fact.
Yes.
You are. I mean, it is instructive that you would provide an evidence.
What evidence? Who doesn't know?
Where's the result? That suggests that NDC won in these areas.
Who doesn't know that Techiman South military gunned down people?
Yes, we know that. But the results, you said you won.
The NDC pink sheets are very clear that we won the elections. The pink sheets and the accounts given are very clear. Now, if you think that the MPP won the election, why did they need to use guns to gun down people before elections were declared? You go to what happens in Honorable Jogati's constituency. Didn't they shoot guns, scare people? NDC coalition guys, we all had to run. They beat people, and the NDC was not there. It was left with the Electoral Commission to declare results. And two, Zabzugu, we all saw what happened. They brought the electoral office and said declare. With military police saying declare. And this was what happened. Many other constituencies. Now, if those constituencies were not robbed, NDC would have had the majority.
But you had a chance of going to court.
I am saying that Jean Mensa...
To prove this. I mean, you were given the opportunity.
Look.
Were you able to do that?
I am saying that the NDC went to court not to prove what you are talking about. Went to court for the purposes of infractions, constitutional infractions, in the manner the elections were organized. And if our position was accepted by the Supreme Court, there would have been a runoff. So that is the point. You go to court for a purpose. Now, if we are raising other issues, those issues, yes, NDC could have decided to go to court on those issues.
Yes. But you chose not to.
Yeah, we chose to go to court on an issue we felt had the efficacy for the elections to be declared void, and therefore we would have had a rerun of the elections.
But my point is, on these other issues that you're raising, and today you're here, I mean, we're in 2023, we're ready for another elections in 2024, and you're insisting that in 2024 you won in 2020 you won in certain areas. I mean, for anyone who is watching and is not partisan, the person will be asking, where's the evidence? If those issues, if those issues were paramount and important to you, why didn't you pursue them in court? You didn't. You are here crying to us.
Some have been pursued in court. The Savlugu one, you know, there was a court issue. I think the Zabzugu one also.
Yes.
I'm saying that, yes, there were some mistakes we made as a political party. And some, if you like, mistakes that are just unforgivable. Those who were clothed with the responsibility to do that, to work and ensure that those things never happen. I mean, we lost our guard and those things happen. That is why we are repeatedly saying that these mistakes must not be made again. And we're sending a signal to the security agencies or men in uniform that they have paid by our taxes. They swore an oath to protect lives and property of all Ghanaians. They didn't swear the oath to protect lives and property and interests, rather parochial interests of President Nana-Addo and his family and the NPP. So we are telling them that this responsibility, this moral duty, that our taxes are paid, are used to pay them to discharge. If they fail to do that in 2024 and think that they can repeat what they did in 2020, we shall meet them boot to boot.
Okay.
We will do that. In fact, to be very honest, the Constitution of Ghana enjoins us to do everything, even if it means using violence means to protect this democracy and this constitution. So the NDC position is that we felt, we trusted in the independence and the impartiality of the security agencies. We least expected the security agencies to stoop so low as they did and allow themselves to be manipulated by the political elite. We are simply telling them that if they attempt to do that in 2024, we will not allow them to do that. It's as simple as that.
I don't know if you are by this beating war drums. Maybe you just
what
need
is
to.
war drums?
I mean, when you say we meet them boot for boot,
of course, I'm saying that the Constitution,
Parliament saying that
the Constitution itself says the Constitution itself says that when a military leader overthrows this Constitution, this democracy, and you also use a violent means to overthrow that military leader and restore democracy. That's why June 4th, I've told people that I have participated in June 4th, but I will never participate in 31st. I have never participated in anything 31st. And I do so on principle. I can't be condemning the 1966 coup, and I'll be hailing another coup. Both coups toppled democratically elected government. So any attempt to destroy this democracy, we are enjoined by the Constitution to use any means to protect that democracy. So I'm saying that the security agencies are paid with our taxes. They swore an oath to protect lives and property of the people of this country. Now they are supposed to be impartial. They are supposed to be fair in the way they deal with every citizen of this country. Now what they did in the 2020 elections, they were neither partial, they were neither fair. They did what the MPP wanted them to do. And that for me was embarrassing. That was shameful on the part of those in uniform. We are simply saying that in 2024, we expect them to be impartial. We expect them to be fair. If they think that they can repeat what they did in 2020, we shall meet them boot to boot. That one is as simple as that.
Didn't they showcase impartiality, fairness in the just recently ended Asay North by-elections?
Absolutely.
And you applaud them?
Absolutely, we did. That's what I'm saying. And that is why the MPP has problem with the IGP. The MPP announced...
So they do?
Oh, yes. The MPP announced saying that, haven't you heard those calls, that the IGP should be fired? The man...
You've heard rumors?
Oh, they have said it. I have heard MPP people who have said, look, I was with some MPP guy who said, why is the IGP still at post? The MPP members of parliament. So they were expecting the IGP to be partial. They were expecting the IGP to do what they did in Ayawasu West Wagon. And he refused to do so. And that is why we commend the IGP and the police service and the security agencies.
So now you trust them?
We trust them on the basis of they discharging their duties and responsibility impartially and fairly. When they do that, we commend them. Look, the NDC, we have been very consistent in our demand for the security agencies to be independent-minded in discharging their duties and responsibilities. So when they do things that are worthy of our commendation, we do so. And that is why we will commend them. Look, when this IGP was appointed, I praise him. I have known him for some time. And I said, look, this man is intelligent. This man he appeared to be someone who is independent. Sometimes I also raise questions about sometimes his, showmanship. I have said those things. But I commended him. When he did certain things that were not right, I condemned it. Me, Mutala, there are certain things I do, people will commend me. There are certain things I do, people would condemn me.
We'll get to
Once you are in public space, you can't be absolutely perfect. You do certain things, people will commend you. You do certain things, people would condemn you. So as a security agencies, what they did, when they demonstrated impartiality, why is the MPP crying? Why are they crying? So it means that this is their modus operandi. They expect the security agencies to dance to their very terrible melody that they want them to dance to, and which doesn't augur well for the progress of our democracy.
And these applause that the security agencies are getting, I mean, on the back of the I say not by elections from you, Honorable Comrade Mutala, would you give same to the Electoral Commission for organizing a free, fair elections?
I have insisted that Jean Mensah is an activist of the NPP. You remember when she was appointed, and I said that she was a family member to the wife of the president. Kweku Baku sat on Metro TV, on I think Joy News File, and said I was lying, that they had no family ties. And because the people of this country believes in people who speak English in a funny way, people believed what he said and felt that I was, only for it to be proven in court that Jean Mensah was a family member of the wife of the president. I still expect Kweku Baku to apologize to me for having sat on Metro TV and Newsfile and said I was lying. There wasn't any family relation. The woman was appointed ab initio to do the bidding of the NPP.
But did they do that at Asenos?
They would have done that, but they never got the opportunity because we're vigilant. Then you see, they can only do that through the connivance and the cahoots of the security agencies. They couldn't do that because the security agencies were fair in handling the issue. And that is why we commend the security agencies. Look, the Dr. Bosman Asare, he was my lecturer. In fact, he was my 2 years senior when we were in Legon. When I went to the department, he was my lecturer. And I have always said that a very good lecturer, but a disastrous deputy electoral commissioner. I mean, this is a person who said that the NDC was an existential threat. On that day, in a serious democracy, that man would have been fired. He's still there. Everybody knows he was TESCON patron on campus. He can't deny that. He can't look at some of us. In fact, when we were there, he was a member of TESCON. He became a TESCON, patron on campus. He cannot deny that. They appointed another TESCON patron somewhere, I think in UNE, as also one of the officers at the Electoral Commission. So this has been the agenda. The only way we can prevent that, one, for security agencies on the election day to be fair, two, for the NDC to be courageous and vigilant.
And that's why you exhibited
and to be very honest, I've always said, it is not just the national executive of the party. Individual members of parliament and candidates. In Tamale Central, by 7:30, I had my collated results. By 7:30, I had my own collation center. And by 7:30, I had my results. My pink sheets were all intact.
7:30
by 7:30
p.m.
Yes. So I expect members of parliament and candidates, parliamentary candidates, sometimes don't wait for national executive to come and do that. You want to go to parliament. You have a responsibility to ensure that you monitor the electoral processes. I didn't go to sleep. I've had stories where NDC parliamentary candidates, some of them will come after voting, they go home. Why would you be home? You need to be on the ground. So that is what I expect members or parliamentary candidates to do. If you do that, whatever the national executive or the presidential candidate does, we'll be able to have a very good, supervision of the election. But if you leave everything to national executive or regional executive to come and do, you have, as a parliamentary candidate, you have your constituency executive, and that is why parliamentary candidate, you are the leader of the party at that time in the constituency. So you must take charge. And taking charge means you must work in tandem with your constituency executive and the regional executive.
Very well. Comrade Murtala, my honorable sir, come on. Comrade Murtala Mohammed, and Yanene Chichen Komo, Power 97.9, I think so TVS. So far, you didn't come out for a Kabi Mami Kabi Memo, a year, Mrashabi Fie, and the various arms of government, or much for more, or Betima Boama in Puntu, Etima Bama. We the questions around a year, Mrashabi Fie, whether I say, or Mujina Peme, Wahua Betmi, Abwa Etime Jinama, or my Ghana, or the Anu Yaba, Ache, Noma, a touch. Ewo Omana Muntu ne said Yemrashe Bedwefie ACTS Sabre aka bedru eya abato ho nsensem ache omo gidie kakra omo nheda omo gidie a omo wa anaso omo ni efa aposifo ho na fenso abato komisa eho ene normal wo susu se NDC na ankasa ebetima e wa bra okọ 2024 abato nim ye be wura Mrashe Bedwefie ankasa in fact there's an action that you've taken that your communications officer Sami Yemfi talks about and even elaborates, and we'll try and reconcile it with the action that you took in Parliament and see how that is going to inure to the benefit of the people of Ghana. But answer no, Obiano ye Juma was Solak biochemist and near friend Benjamin Bafo in Century. Solak biochemist menkache I'm saying you know say one year Juma will hope you into wow in the bay Juma Biano so born Biaban wow judge it Muhuna and also Bamon chain so yeah Juma Solak biochemist momon to training and I feel so Spanish ginkgo capsules and one year draw we hear say a bit mabwa amamoja netima nantia na die furusane ye na wura adwene na ma adwene no etima ye adwuma ye ma wani mu nyini tentem Spanish ginkgo capsules in yedra a bit mabwa ho ba na boa na da bia forever young wani mu no eluku young kama and a Spanish garlic mixture na the capsule so and also yedro tatahwea so nine onase atata and I say wo oya wo for ya mu ana atete mu wo dwonso mu nsema ebetimi edi aboa fichiko mu how CAC cancer and dementia ho kwan wedrane Spanish garlic mixture and then a capsule so call hello seba e wo kai chi draglin obenya biato tenatet heba repash heba widama heba so wa shaman etufo betima frɛ 0266 1141 11 0266 114111 or try memenda ne na watwe memenda bio but that will be on the 15th of July 2023 and sanu nyumantete yesronko koso church praise community church at Dental Station Steve no job training and this is an humanity ebre Ghana for you what church is here catfish and as a catfish farming snail farming fish feed making graffiato paint organic fertilizer organic weedicide or chairman for CDC bar soap powdered soap Zuma blow brown sugar fruit ice cream and a biodigester when you know entity what the Ghana for mobile ho kwan na maba na mabeche ukra on sem sika 300 cedis sa dwumedie ubedi ho de pa na ehon faso enso abama what the free car and as a free bus ebekwa akosi ashama China mall mesrew to anamon na beka dwumedie ho sɛ be ya usika sem fa hodie no onsa beka festive news is here 055 555 9464 and a 055 555 9465 Steve no job training also your hope for a better life yentie owura Sami Yemfi mesira ye video no ready mama ye bewura Mrashe Bedwefie beba LGBTQ and sensem no de esla ekache Murtala Mohammed ni nyina ye de beba but yenwura eye enra asemi bia Mrashe Bedwafo no titi omo dom kuma no omo yes omo di kan boy kokko in fact there jachi question osai kire ye no omo boy kokko se emire bia ye be frɛ jachi question asem no anase emire bia be frɛ omo nkofo ni bia asem wo court no omo beja omo adwuma ho Mrashe Bedwafie no makopie mo court eno omo yes no bra asem no ba na wie ye no Sami Yemfi ne enzadwefo kasa ye eno ka se sabra ye kasa ye ni Minister of Justice tie ne bio
ruling on this application for stay of proceedings to the 11th. And so we will be here again, ably supported by our members of parliament in service to God and country to ensure that we give Honorable Kwesi the needed support. From there, we headed to the court trying a minority leader. And as you may be aware, the trial did not come on today as planned because one of the accused persons, due to ill health, was not available. So the court, in its wisdom, has adjourned the matter to the 27th of this month. And we hope to come and deal with the processes scheduled for that day. But one thing is clear in all these things. In all these things, what is clear is that Ghana today does not have a Minister of Justice. We may have an Attorney General who is the principal legal advisor to the President, but we don't have a Minister of Justice. Because the man who bears that title has demonstrated time and again that he doesn't deserve that title. He doesn't understand the responsibilities that come with that title. He's not interested in doing justice. He's not interested in a fair trial. He's only interested in abusing his prosecutorial powers, in going after political opponents. But we want to serve notice to him that the NDC has been through this before. This is not the first time we are seeing this kind of witch hunts. We saw that in the immediate aftermath of the 2008 elections. They said that by the time they were going to be through with us, the NDC would have collapsed. But here we are, formidable as ever, stronger as ever. We will go through this and we will come out successfully. The one thing is certain, that the day of reckoning, the day of accountability for Godfrey Adame is coming. Thank you. And if that day will not come after the 2024 elections, that day will come soon, because very soon we will be holding his feet to the fire of accountability. His conduct as Attorney General, particularly in relation to his advice and recommendations on matters of judgment debts, have come to our attention. And in the coming days, we will be addressing you in the media and by extension the good people of this country on these issues. We'll be putting before you incontrovertible facts about the conduct of this Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
These are very serious. That communication officer, NDC, Amanyoko, Sami Final 10 and Kano. But, comrade, these are very serious concerns that you are raising. One, on the score of persecution, when Godfrey Adame feels they are only following the legal ropes as far as Judge Kwesi's case is concerned. And then two, you are leaving parliamentary work to give support to someone who is facing the law court. Just like any ordinary Ghanaian will go through.
That gentleman and the people of Asennof were denied their proper representation for over a year. Throughout the time Honorable Jesse Kwesi was absent, myself, including my other colleagues from both the NDC and the MPP, saw the need to ask questions of pertinent issues affecting our constituencies. I filed questions. Some of the questions, I got the needed response. Mm-hmm. Some of the questions, because of me filing them, there was pressure on government to do what was supposed to be done. The people of Asennof had challenges confronting them. Those challenges included water, included roads, included basic amenities, which they have the right as citizens of this country to benefit. Mm-hmm. They were denied those basic amenities because they didn't have someone speaking for them. It isn't that Honorable Jesse Kwesi didn't want to speak.
You may want to get closer to
He desperately wanted to speak for them. Yeah. But he was denied the opportunity to do so. Mm. The people of Asennof were denied proper representation because of a parochial, selfish and wicked interest, that because they wanted to reduce the numbers of the NDC, they didn't care about the people of Asennof. Today, that same man, having gone through all these tribulations, mm-hmm. gone into an election, won the elections, mm-hmm. they are now holding the man before court, denying him to properly represent the people of Asennof. I want to directly speak to the people of Asennof. Mm. I told you before the elections that the MPP hates you. I was not saying it just for political expediency. I was telling you the truth. And I said so because you were denied representation over a year. Now, you demonstrated to the president and the entirety of the people of this country that Dwaboase is the person you want to represent you. Having elected him, he was sworn in by the speaker. They are still denying him the chance to sit to address your teething challenges. I think that you should indeed take this as a very big lesson. That never again should we give the MPP the slightest opportunity to represent you in Parliament again. I was expecting the gentleman who contested with Honorable Dwaboase, I was expecting him, if he so loves the people of Asenov, to condemn the action of this government.
He's going back to work. But for you to rally behind your colleague at the expense of you representing your constituents in Parliament, as far as parliamentary work is concerned, is that not also denying us
my constituents
of your use in Parliament?
Part of my representation is that I should defend my constituents. I should represent their interests, and part of their interests is that I should fight for the people of this country, that I should fight to ensure social cohesion and social justice, that no constituency and no group of persons or individuals are denied representation. That is part of the demand my people indeed expect me to do, and I believe any other MP. So what we are doing is part of the responsibility. Today, they came for Honorable Dwaboase. Tomorrow, they may come for me. They may come for another person. Even you, the media, you should be speaking out against this, because they have come for many of you. And there's a saying that when they came for the Jews, no one said anything. Yeah. They came for the Gentiles, no one said anything. They came for the communists, no one said anything. That when they come for me, there will be no one to say anything. And I think that is what we are doing. So what we are doing is not abdicating our responsibilities as members of
Asepa is saying that it's against standing orders.
Which standing orders?
Your standing orders in Parliament.
Which standing orders? Part of the responsibilities of members of Parliament is to fight against the arbitrary use of power, either by the executive or by the judiciary. Part of our responsibility is to seek the welfare and the interests of every citizen in this country. So what we are doing there is fighting for justice.
Are you not blackmailing government?
I say we are fighting for justice.
Are you not blackmailing government?
You said which
Mensa Thompson's
ask Mensa Thompson, Asepa. I respect him so much. Whether he thinks fighting for justice and fairness is not part of the mandate of members of Parliament. It is part of the mandate of MPs, and that is what we are doing.
But this will store government business.
So storing government business at the expense of the right of even a single individual. Now we are talking about thousands. The people of Asenov were denied representation over a year. Saul, they have been denied representation for how many years now? Nobody says anything about it. The people have problems. The people who were supposed to be represented, they have challenges. Who is going to make a case for them? Can I file a question for and on behalf of the people of Sal? No. They needed to have representation. They have been denied representation for years. Where was Mr. Thompson? Where was he? What has been his position on the denial of the people of South for their representation? What was his position on Asenov people when they were denied representation over a year? At the time they denied him representation by a court, he was still the member of Parliament, because there was no inner court that said he wasn't a member of Parliament. So you can have some of these issues, legal issues you are looking at, but allow the guy to continuously representing the people, because he's not in Parliament by his own will. He's in Parliament because he was elected to represent them. So what we are doing is performing our functions as members of Parliament.
And
yesterday,
and not sabotaging government.
Yesterday I wasn't in court.
Yes,
I was at a committee meeting. Those of us from NDC members of Parliament were all at the committee meeting. Is it not working for Mother Ghana, ensuring that the thievery of this government is brought to stop?
How do you intend sustaining this? Because I mean, beyond Dwaboase, there's Attoforsen, and I'm sure others.
As long as
you intend doing this for all your colleagues?
As long as it takes us. Has the government said anything or the MPP said anything about the absence of Adwoa Safo?
There's also a rule of
but
law.
Don't you think that
nobody's above the law?
But don't you think that the MPP, Adwoasafo refusal to represent her constituency in Parliament, MPP could have dismissed her from the party, dismiss her, and automatically she ceases to be a member of Parliament? Why is the MPP not doing that? Why is Mr. Thompson and co not calling on the MPP to dismiss Adwoasafo, so that the people, her constituency, can be truly and properly represented? Because once she is dismissed from the party, she ceases to be a member of Parliament. There will be a by-election. Why is the MPP not interested in doing that? Sometimes this hypocrisy is just legendary.
Oh, you call that hypocrisy?
Absolutely hypocrisy. Absolutely hypocrisy. People ought to be consistent. You ought to be consistent. It's hypocrisy.
How have you explained this to your constituents for them to appreciate that what you're doing would also benefit
My
them?
constituents are absolutely in support of the action that we have taken. My constituents are absolutely. I haven't heard anybody. In fact, what I have only heard is members of my constituency urging me and urging the NDC to do what we are doing.
And mind you, you don't just represent the NDC.
No, I said members
you represent the MPP as well,
of course,
floating voters.
Yes, of course, you can't have everybody. That's why I'm said I'm yet to hear anybody tell me that you guys should not do what you are doing. The only thing I have heard is that many of my constituents, those I have spoken with and those who called me have all urged me that we should continue. And some of them have indicated that as long as it takes us, we should continue boycotting Parliament.
Beyond Jachikwesin, where's the persecution? Where's the use of the judiciary to persecute?
It's not only he. Collins Dowda is another. You have our minority leader, who is another. I'm told that Collins Dowda will be in court on Monday or Tuesday. That's what I'm told. I'm saying that they have been doing this repeatedly. We are not saying that anybody who incur any infraction in law should not be prosecuted. That is not what we are saying. But everybody knows what they are doing. They are doing that because they want to reduce the numbers of the NDC in Parliament. That is why they are doing what they are doing.
Okay, let's move to Parliament. The showdown that we saw in Parliament, 2 days ago. Yourself and your very good friend, the second deputy speaker. I mean, he tried, letting you know that we are friends, but yet still you were on top of the world. I mean, literally speaking. Let's have an idea of what happened in Parliament to be on. Na yenini ninkomo say one eslo usu ade ntokwa biasi wo buntema na say edie ne ba ya yete so bi tiam so bi a promoter. Next low sorry I say one will pass a comrade Murtala Muhammad and Anana Kasa. I heard their course of.
But the impression must not be created that the bill was watered down. Mr. Speaker, what the other debaters on this matter fail to address is the issue that it is not mainly about the sexual lifestyles of a man and a woman, or a man and a man and a woman and a woman. Mr. Speaker, as sponsors of the bill, Mr. Speaker, that's a hard scan, Mr. Speaker, honorable member for Temale Central, please kindly withdraw that statement. Honorable member for Temale Central, please. We are carrying all of us together. Please withdraw that statement. No, I overheard you. Honorable Motali, please just withdraw the statement. Motala. Honorable Murtala. I sat here and repeatedly heard Honorable Murtala refer to me as a practitioner of LGBT to the hearing of everyone in this house. I sat here and repeatedly heard him
Honorable Minister,
shout at the top of his voice and refer to me as a practitioner of LGBTQ. And every single last one of you is behaving as if you didn't hear it. And in response to that, I say he is mad. It is only a madman who will refer to his colleague in this house as a practitioner of LGBTQ when you haven't seen me having sexual intercourse with your wife or your daughter or your mother.
Comrade Mutala, why? I mean, what did you do to her?
Well,
what did you say?
First and foremost, myself and Ajua Safo, we have a history. Estela, we have a history. You remember in the seat Parliament on Good Morning Ghana, I was with her on the program when she infamously stated that but for free education, that Honorable Bagbin, then he was the majority leader, His Excellency President Mahama, but he mentioned Honorable Bagbin, President Mahama, then the Vice President, and Honorable Haruna Idrisu. He said, but for free education, they would have been rearing cattle. You know, you remember she said that. And I took her on. It was serious. After that, I went to Parliament, and Ajua Safo, they were at the coffee shop. Ajua Safo and I were meeting Legon. She's a very good friend of mine. So when I went, Ajua Safo asked me, oh, what happened? Then Estela came again. And I remember I said, she was speaking from a different state of mind and that I didn't know what she took that morning. And she didn't take kindly to that. So myself and her, we have spoken. I mean, a couple of times. We have interacted.
You're friends?
A couple of
times.
Are
you
friends?
No,
I don't describe her as a friend. She's a colleague member of Parliament. Now, on that said day, it is very clear the Speaker got everything wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Oh, he did?
Absolutely. And what he couldn't answer even when I asked him the question. Parliament, our conduct in the House is guided by three very important things: the Constitution of Ghana, the standing orders of Parliament, and the best practices of Parliament. But what is significant is the Constitution and the standing orders. There is nowhere in the Constitution of Ghana, there is nowhere in the standing orders of Parliament or the practices of Parliament where a statement purportedly made off mic is deemed to be a statement made in Parliament. Any statement you make off mic is considered not to be made in Parliament because the Hansard Department captures every single statement that is made on the mic. And that is why every day they bring the proceedings, and then if you were misquoted, you have to say. Sometimes the Hansard Department, you make a statement, they will send someone to the chamber. You said this, which word was that? What word did you use? Because they want to capture everything correctly for the purposes of
clarity
and records. Right. Now, so when the Speaker said, withdraw statement, I asked the Speaker, what statement? Because I never made any statement on record. And in fact, in Parliament, when we all jab each other. When you want to jab each other, you do so when by offering your mic.
Turn off the mic.
Yes, we all jab each other.
And you do that deliberately.
Even yesterday.
Right.
Afenyo and, in fact, even that day, Afenyo and our deputy minority chief whip were giving jabs to each other. But as long as those jabs are off mic,
it's not recorded.
It's not recorded. Even on that day, when the Fiamakpo was talking, Estela was giving jabs and said, more bodam. More bodam means you people. She started more bodam before the ranting, you know. So, but we didn't bother because we knew we were not mad. And in fact, she was saying it off mic. So when the Speaker said, I should withdraw, I was asking the Speaker, no statement has been made on the floor. Because any statement that is purportedly made was made off the mic. So which statement are you asking me to withdraw? That's one. Two, I never used the word practitioner. I never.
Well, what word did you use?
I'm just saying that I never used the word. I don't want to go into any other.
Did you say anything demeaning?
What I said, in fact, I wasn't even the only person speaking. Some were saying you are a promoter of LGBTQ. Many people, including what I said.
They were saying who?
I'm saying most of us. I mean, you know, we're all giving jabs.
Who is a promoter?
MPP, that Estela also was a promoter of LGBTQ. These statements were made. At MPP people, they're also giving jabs. So some were even mentioning my name, Mutala, mentioning Bawa. You know, names were being mentioned. What I remember I said was, I said, Mr. Speaker, allow everybody to speak on the matter. It is not about Honorable Bagbin asking if you are for it, if you are against the bill, stand up. No. Allow all of us to debate the matter. Because in a debate, you would know the position of every single member of Parliament, those who are practitioners and those who are not, those who have taken money and from the so-called Western world and those who are not. But I never used the word. In fact, I don't know the last time I used the word practitioner in my voice. I don't know the last. I believe it's over a year. I haven't even used that word. Oh, so really? If she heard you are a practitioner of LGBTQ, then I can swear to you, it never came from me. But if she had any other thing, and when Estela rose, Estela never said, Mutala said, I am a promoter of LGBTQ. Ursula never said she heard Mutala say, I'm supporting LGBTQ. He said, I heard him say that I am a practitioner. So my response to Ursula's statement has to do with what she said. And before God and man, I never used the word practitioner. So that is why when you ask what did I say, I said a lot of things. So I won't be able to point out. But in reference to what Ursula said, I never used the word practitioner. But you see, her reaction.
And so it was difficult for you to apologize?
No, I never apologized. I only, you see, when the speaker...
Even to your friend?
No, when the speaker, when he said I should withdraw, I asked him, what am I going to withdraw? Because I have made several statements. So I said, Mr. Speaker, then tell me the specific statement you said I said, so that I could what? I could withdraw. He couldn't tell me because, you know, any statement he made at that time would have been captured in his name because he was saying it on mic. So at the end of the day, because I wanted sanity to prevail, and I didn't want to be seen arguing with the speaker and trying to, just for the reverence or the respect I had for the speaker, I said, okay, Mr. Speaker, if you are telling me to withdraw, this is the only statement I remember I made. I said, everybody should be given the opportunity to speak on it, then we'll know. And I would say, oh no. And I said, okay, then if that is the case, since you can't tell me specifically what statement I should withdraw, then I'm withdrawing every statement I have made since I entered into the chamber. But in any case, I never made any statement because I never spoke through the mic. So ab initio, there was no statement to withdraw. And then she said, you listen to the vulgar with which she ranted. What she did, her reaction and my reaction clearly tells you someone who had proper upbringing and another one who didn't have proper upbringing. It is very clear. It is very clear with her reaction that one of us had proper upbringing and one didn't have proper upbringing. And it is very clear that I had proper upbringing because if anybody says anything I feel uncomfortable, I won't use the husband or the wife or the daughter as an example.
You could tell she was angry.
No, but listen to me. Anger over what? Anger over something she claimed I said, which I never said. In any case, assuming without admitting that someone said you are a practitioner of LGBTQ, Parliament is a house of records. When you rose, ask Mr. Speaker, I heard Mutala says that I'm a practitioner of LGBTQ. I want him to provide evidence where I have engaged in the practices of lesbianism. For example, she could have said that. That's why they say Parliament is a house of records. But she got up. She was vulgar in her ranting. Clearly, there are two reasons why anybody in any setting, even including Parliament, can act that way. Either that person didn't get proper upbringing, or that person needs psychiatric attention. But to be very honest with you, if you do not need psychiatric attention and you do not have, you had proper upbringing, I don't think that you would go that vulgar. It was funny. And to be very honest, that has destroyed her the more. Look, Parliament is a house with debate, with reasoning and intelligence. Now, assuming someone said, Mutala, you are this, I will rise and tell Mr. Speaker, this is a house of records. I want the person to provide evidence where I have done that. That is what you should do. If the person cannot provide any evidence, that person will be more than the word shameful. But you see, again, it was after I left, then someone sent an information to me that this same Esla said on Peace FM that Prof. Mills of blessed memory was a gay. You remember? She said it. And two, the same Esla said on radio that she had practiced lesbianism before when she was in SHS. And I never knew.
And that was a phase in life.
I'm saying that.
And that she goes on to say that she still loves her men.
Exactly. So no, I'm saying that. Yes. Oh, but we have bisexual. There are people who do men.
No, but she says it was a phase in life.
I'm saying that we have people who do men and do women. But that is not.
What's your point?
I'm saying that for her, she herself has admitted that she has done something before. But I never said you are a practitioner. Assuming I even said you are a promoter, for example.
But you said, you said off mic. There were people.
No, I'm saying a lot of people use that. I'm saying that.
Could have been
so why choose me? Why think that I said it? And in any case, assuming anybody said you are a promoter, there is a sharp difference between a promoter and a practitioner. Someone can be promoting something but doesn't engage in it. People do adverts of alcohol, but they don't drink alcohol. People do adverts of Coca-Cola. They don't drink Coca-Cola. You sit here. You are working. they bring adverse of alcohol. You may not be but you promote it. Even though as a Muslim, I don't need to have anything doing with alcohol, for example. But there are certain foods you advertise that you may not even eat. So that can be a promoter. But when you say someone is a practitioner, it means that that person engages in it. I don't have any evidence. So under no circumstance could I have said Esther Owusu is a practitioner. Assuming I even said that, she needed to have asked the speaker to ask me to prove. If I'm not able to prove that, one, I'll be ashamed, then I would have to withdraw. But I never said that. I never used that word. So clearly, two things motivated how anybody on any setting could behave that way. Either the person didn't get proper upbringing or the person needs psychiatric attention. And I know a clinical psychologist at the psychology department of the University of Ghana. I'm saying, hold on, I'm not referring to her. I'm saying that I know a
inferences could be drawn.
I'm saying that I did psychology. My first degree.
But I'm saying that,
and I know my lecturers.
Where you're going,
I'm saying that I know my lecturers who are willing
to her.
To who?
To Esla.
How are you reading meanings into the statement? I'm saying that anybody. I'm not saying her. I'm saying that when we are discussing football, you can talk about Premier League and you talk about Ghana League. Doesn't mean that you are talking about Premier League. I'm saying that anybody who could behave the way anybody could behave in that setting, whether in politics or in game, that person would need Professor Dankwa. And my lecturer, I think that I can make recommendation.
Comrade, I'll get to find out from you. I mean, if
it was honorable back then, there was no way he would have asked anybody to withdraw, because whatever statement anybody made, it was made.
No, but the second deputy speaker was clear that he saw you.
I'm saying that in Parliament, did he hear me say that Esla is a practitioner? That's the question. And in any case,
he said he knows what you did.
So he should have told.
And he does not want you to go down.
I'm saying that, you see, he knew that. I mean, the tape you played. A lot of there are jobs. Parliament where we give jobs, and those jobs must be given off the mic. So if you give jobs off the mic, it is deemed not to be made in Parliament, because everything that is said in the mic is recorded. That is why even after the speaker, even with me, the speaker could not tell me specifically, I withdrew, you remember? And I said, okay, then I withdrew every statement I made. The speaker asked her to apologize. People are mistaking the two statements. The speaker asked me to withdraw the so-called statement he had I made, and asked her to apologize. She refused to apologize. As a matter of fact, she walked out of Parliament. That's what she did. And even with the left hand, using the left hand. Look, at the point she indicted everybody. She said, and you people are sitting there as if you've lost your senses of what? Of hearing. Insulted everybody, including the speaker.
Interesting. It's a matter. I mean, chartered economist, as a member of the NDC. Don't you think that taking the shine away from Oman Atenase anti-LGBT bill?
Oh, Kwame Minkah chair or for no tea for na menchia on so near Konya dear mammy. Na mention this in Pennyfo, teaching the national chairman and the leader now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Meaning say a question for a thank you to. Kwame me the Bible by. Hey. So I can kind Bible. Yanko Ponsa nipa bebre yare. Ba kope ene dan ani so okodase. Yes, Christo bisa said na nkono aka no hene. And biblically no dome or massive na bepem on there. Enti asede here.
Enti na aseda no be so ase.
Enti me on this show me for akonya we so commended the initiator of that thank you to. Say nyankopon kra ye som no opaseda. Allah nso paseda. Enti ne duru me bia nkramofo na komeka. What is the essence? Is to show say there's a sovereign power bia is superior to us. Enti the NDC impending for our drain no. Yes, be the one man out to be a being. I cannot tell you one thing. Only in 57 the by-election. This thank you toll. We became 60% plus in 2024. Concrofon be who say Adabi. Henipokwe won kaye. And don't forget since 92, of shred the flipping of the constituency MPP are winning more. Bomon no masse. Fantastic. What I sent the leadership of the NDC no needs commendation. And Obibio initiated this idea no is a master stroker. Kwame Minkah discussion and menu penning and MP attach on. I like him so much and for his honesty and blunt talk. Thank you. Donald Trump can say, Mr. People love and hate him for same reason. He's blunt. So those who want blunters, like those who hate blunters, don't like him. So I like him because he's honest. Okay, so I said it here. Assuming without admitting me, you saw no on the premises and I said, okay, your grandpa.
Yeah.
Young for number S, like she's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Me, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Thank you. But fine law, you were evidence acts. Until court now see, oh, be me, mammy, say, oh, be you 2 things were the famous. Court on yes, verbal verbiage in your back to say, look, tender in your evidence. So assume inside as a lawyer of a caliber who claims to account from a Kufuor's chamber. Almost your money didn't send winning cases to Ghana. No. So they are saying we call quarter the business thing. Until me in a profession, a throwback to her. If she indeed she's a lawyer, she has failed the test of a legal profession. In legal profession, Kwame, so be the sentence no the fame now the quarter. Court on can't tell send some work in your deal. Or say give your exhibit affidavit in support of your claim. Until zoom in without admitting classes are saying because of Mike Crana or evidence in the same. Until no one a professional crown on Wagufi. Until lawyers terminate him now, also almost striking out in the legal profession on some fata. Because a minute they are saying we call court and the crime and for lawyer.
But some come away. I mean, you have been an annie.
Kwame Minim so was school now bobola. They are near bobola. When a team be called now, Shen, you know who's a Tanus new Tiana, with me delay tatis.
Okay.
A delay tatis.
So say,
wouldn't say by ideological underpinning. MPP now and come promote to this anti-gay law. You know why? It's a conservative party. And this is a progressive. Look at the two. Your two tradition after saying chroma core, you know, Ghana being be two bigger tradition. MPP and DC. MPP a purely traditional conservative party. Just say, when na Kwame Yasha say fast or your man fast so.
Yeah.
And obi oye conservative no o mani fit a quantimpon ne ho. O kan Bible, o say quantimpon na ye twa amamo no Kwame, eno na wo so mo fa so. Me no ti krum ha. Kwame me na na paramount chief. O ware mako 9. O 43. Da owu ya ye sie no da de nipa se become na ye 49. Kwame die na be kire me se me amete he ni nya Ghana mba ahofo ne me yira ahofo na me nkofa beema. Enti nka ye political party e wo no. Obe promote this bill nkenya NDC.
Wow.
Yes. Ideologically, you know, MPP a conservative. And NDC a progressive, meaning say we allow for minority rights.
The US are Republican and Democrats.
And to flip to US.
Yeah.
And in Kauko US are. So what should Donald Trump or the Republican is purely conservative. And a Democrat in progressive and they are open. And to my family Ghana, yeah, NDC, or yeah, say egalitarian. They're trying to say you respect you, be your interest. And think ye NDC crown ye beka say yamma kwana mani memanda na memman for mematu. But I say there be we are going against our own political ideology and opinion because you said the one kotono mami buchi as na ye chiwade. Kwan wo nyini na sa wo mami nwe nanka na nyini be we nanka wo ye musuo makro no. And the Kroya Yetimi, this goes to the church leaders in the country. Kwame, Mame for Unko Genesis chapter 19. Hey. Kwame, here powerful in discussion. Now, Mame for Unko Sodom and Gomorrah, a whole year simple. Genesis chapter 19, verse 23. Okay, can you what? Sodom and Gomorrah story, which say, Lot Nere, Yanko Pamba. No, my buffer, Beshamun come say. Ye mo ye krom han trumu no yenti mekumo abofo no baba akuba mi no ba miensa oba bia na amanfo nsakyraye de ne si Sodom and Gomorrah Yankopon shi kro no ma Lot yere dane nchinisie e wo Genesis chapter 19 verse 1 to 11 23 to 29 mame sa no fo anko 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9 to 10 and a very critical Yankopon e kaseti ya se Kwame sa trumu no na ni nye ho o say surely you know that the wicked will not pass God's kingdom. Do not fool yourselves. People who are immoral or who worship idols or are adulterers or homosexual perverts. It's in the Bible. Kwame media meme na na eba na yesi na na no sombo someboa. E na kwasi broni sese opese okọ osoro ahemman mu a oje nwoma we na kan o ko heaven. True or false? Enti aba be je this way a sacrilegious document. Asa o kenkan na udi mu nsemu yi a heaven de o dem clean. Kwame de ono de Bible no bra no be sna be kan kire wo say afa makwan na be manfa be mato.
It is a war fahodie bi.
Against the will of this Bible or the beji man nya fa.
If you say a people point so war fahodie bi, war human rights bi.
It's absurdity.
Mate Amnesty International.
Kwame, I work with the Commonwealth and they've taken me on my opinions on this homosexuality thing. It doesn't make sense. The bully doesn't respect a weak link. Kwame, obi oye bully. Americans are bullies. UK is a bully. I work with them. I don't give a fuck. Sorry for this.
Hey.
Sorry, I withdraw. But I don't care about whom. But they are bullies. Do you know why? So why you your minor one you name ya no man mia okon. Can they take this to North Korea? Can they take it to Singapore? Why Ghana? Many opponents St. John can say be na member na but so say what is a Ugandan speaker or pass Ugandan law no or more restricted no. Meaning say Sandon the omo man of this or my man come back cancel. But you know why? Marcus Cicero can say always advance your own level of thought. But when you meet a more superior one, drop yours. Can be advance on one and nyansa. But ko to be in nyansa one a soa.
Fadia ton
nyansa na de wo hen. Bible we essay tone Quran me rekuri Quran ye de ba me nua panin MP enim Quran
Mutala Muhammad.
Good. Enim Quran mu ye pa. Adentina Quran say we ye Muslim matin ware mienu ko. Because who sa de na ye kama. Adna Quran Bible anka say oh Kwame wo a wo tie be man ware be ma. No say yen na yen nor sempo no anwea.
That's right.
Enti NDC in position are taking no. I was saying Ghana no be Christian Council. You know what they should do? Also we should statement commend the NDC. But they are cowards.
But at least you members of parliament in Biomoye MPP for no one so
no. Kwame.
Yeah.
The position of the NDC unblock. And yes, say obi titaba bi no bi ye bibia mo. Do honorable Sandod na ye cheerleader in this bill. But you'll admit say NDC cry yen wo no support bill no. NDC ni ayen wo no or ye clot of blood. E support to say yempe. Can MPP do same? Do you know why? What is the name?
Kamala Harris.
Who's what Bahanan saying? Who says
American Vice
international relations? Yen sembia ne di tubia. O ma be say man panin say side on frustrating no.
I'll go tell.
Me say on frustrating no. And no thing nobody call parliament against speaker no. But NDC must be commended. Here 2024 be one of the key determinant in voting. Sa bill ne nko enti me ka kire wo ne ehemfo be support NDC. Me na me ka kire wo. I say not. Me dey say me call ho. Woni timamfo no kasa omo say anti yentuntia de kwesi na tumutumu mra. No, we don't want it. Come into ne ho nya ode.
Pa. I can't see my kakrebi. Sikanie. I can't see my kakrebi. So as we're wrapping up,
I just want to say and I agree entirely with
BOT.
my brother.
Yeah.
And thanks for your kind words. The Quranic position of homosexuality is virtually the same as stated in the Bible. Call it Lut, the people of Lut. The Quran position goes further. In fact, Allah says in the Quran that when people engages in such practices, man and a man sleeping. Remember the people of Lut?
Raise your voice for me.
The people of the Lut, so it was just gay.
Yeah.
You didn't have much of lesbianism.
Wow.
Now we move from gay to lesbianism to queer.
Yeah.
Islam position is that when the punishment of Allah comes as a result of such practices, that it will come in the form of birds carrying baked of fire. Baked, I mean, clay baked in fire. I mean, pure fire. And each bird will be instructed to drop the baked of fire on every single individual in the society.
Wow.
Whether those who supported it or those who were quiet.
Wow.
So Islam expects that we should fight it. No one should take the seat on the fence. That the punishment of Allah will not distinguish between those who were practicing it and those who were not. Between those who were promoting it and those who were not. And that is why we have a moral duty and a responsibility to fight it. But it's important to take one thing. You see, in the Western world, it is a crime to engage in polygamy. It's a crime.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
Yeah. And we're wrapping
because
up.
it doesn't resonate with their values.
Yeah.
To be very honest with you, what resonates with the African value, not just Islam, I don't want to reduce it to an Islamic argument. An African value, a man can marry more than one wife.
Yeah,
in fact, if you look at the Quranic ayah, I've heard a lot of Muslims who say that, oh, Islam says you can marry 4. Islam doesn't say you can marry 4. Islam says that, in fact, the ayah starts by saying that marry 2, if you can be fair and just between them. Marry 3, if you can be fair and just among them. Marry 4, if you can be fair and just among them. But if you can't, stick to 1. It is only the Quran that you have a specific mention of stick to 1, not even in the Bible.
If you cannot be fair and just
stick to 1.
Stick to 1.
Wow.
That is how the ayah starts by saying marry 2 if you can be fair and just between them. Marry 3 if you can be fair and just among them. Marry 4 if you can be fair and just among them. But if you cannot, stick to 1. That's what Islam says. So I'm saying that what we are doing, the LGBTQ frowns upon our religious beliefs. It is the only thing that you have all the major religions converging without any dispute. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, every religion of the world there has never been a consensus on any issue apart from anti-LGBTQ. We have a consensus. There's also a very important point which I will just make as my last point. We have all converged on that basis. When the Nazi Germans were heading towards Britain, and Churchill stood in the Parliament of Britain and said that even if we are lying on the floor of this Parliament, choking in our own blood, we shall not surrender. And he said so after his security advisor, Halifax, advised him to surrender. He said that even if we are lying on the floor of this Parliament, choking in our own blood, we shall not surrender. I want to say that even if we are lying in our villages, in our homes in Ghana, choking in our own blood, we shall not surrender to this. I was in Geneva. I shouldn't have mentioned the name. We traveled with our colleagues, and I was shocked. I got information that someone was invited to attend the World Human Rights whatever nonsense. And then when the person went there, he saw about 27 NGOs and civil society organizations from Ghana who claim to be promoting LGBTQ in Ghana, and they were invited to sit in that meeting. I'm saying that they have threatened departments in our universities that if you do not support it, we will cut your funding. We will fight this because I don't want to suffer the punishment of Allah as stated in the Quran.
Our time is up. Thank you very much. No, Pacha, me brain aso. Yeah, you may feel so. But as a pa, ya boy every so. Beauty with us, unfortunately, yeah, brain and ya brain. Busuafo had ye dim see mediane Kwame Minkah many power ni on the freaky funky edition of Power Mid Morning Ebra Musisi. Bye bye.